previously in another portion of questions, you mentioned there was a time in your life when you signed a record deal,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Swishahouse / Universal at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the only record deal you ever received, ever
No.
signed?
No, I signed with Koch, younger. I also I did a deal with Island Distribution. That was my first deal with Island Distribution. And my second one was with Koch. And then Universal. Um, I think those were the only three deals that I done. Yeah.
3 record deals in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what's your opinion on record deals at this point?
I'm not like everybody else. I don't think that a record deal is bad. Like people, man, you need to stay in. Independency is not for everybody. You have a certain amount of discipline to be understanding, independent of what it takes, and from spending your own money, spending your time. That's a special person. That's everybody's not an entrepreneur. I think a deal is great for some people. You know what I'm saying? Backing and tell people sometimes, man, I think if you're 21, 22, man, with a great deal, man, go have a good time. Go fly the world. Go see it. Go do concerts, man. Have a good time. You don't have no kids. So, hey, man, trying to sit over here and be independent of the boss and hook up the interviews and pay the taxes and all that, you got plenty of time to do that. So I think record deals are great, man. I always tell people, man, everybody always talking about independence and how great independence is, which it is. It's great. I'm independent. But I don't hear Puff none of them. I don't hear none of them talking themselves out. I don't hear Yo Gotti's and Rick Ross. Ain't none of them talking themselves out they deals. They like partnerships and all that. I'm trying to figure out why we trying to talk ourselves out of it. You know what I'm saying? For the most people that's inside, hey man, you're gonna have complaints independent, and you're gonna have complaints on a major. So more money, more problems. Give me the problems. Hey. But that's it. What I mean by that, if that's for you, like independent, it's for me. I can handle. I got over 50 tapes, 50 CDs, 50 albums. So independent is a great thing for me, but not for everybody.
How does one know if independence is right for them or not, generally speaking?
Because I think that one of the big things you have to understand about being independent is not really about making money. It's about the reinvestment. And it's about knowing that you making this. Can you live and can you live and survive through the music? What I mean by that is, can you pay your bills and afford to mix, master, album covers, create a team, do these things? Are you able to share? Are you able to this money that you're making? Are you able to share it and give other people opportunities to work for you? That's when you're gonna know you're independent. It doesn't mean you're able to sit there and do it all by yourself, because you still need help independent. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna still need somebody to do this, do that, drive, pick up the, carry the bag, whatever it is. And that's when you're gonna know is when you can take care of your bill, take care of your personal life, and still have enough to invest. Independency is investing into yourself. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. You have to be willing to buy that beat. Not the one on YouTube online that you're renting for 20, 30. I'm talking about buy this beat, pay for this album cover, jump on this plane, go see Smallz, do 3, 4 interviews in a day, whatever it takes. Do you have that kind of drive and that kind of discipline? Some people need that extra push, or they need it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a deal is good for certain artists.
Other than the description you just explained, what else is it like being independent?
Um,
Other than what you've just mentioned. And if that fits this answer, that's fine too.
Freedom.
What's it really like being independent?
The freedom of it is great because it's up to you, and it also tests your work ethic. Because independence gives you an opportunity. You could drop 3 of them in 1 year if you're working like that. You know what I'm saying? So one of the great things about being independent, it's gonna test your work ethic. It's gonna test your love for the game, because you can have it your way. It depends on if you want to be out at the club every night promote. You can be. If you want to get on the road and drive 5, 6, 7 hours and go talk to you can. So it's all about that when there's a major, you may have a deal sometime. A lot of collaborations and different things you want to do, you got to get signed off on it all. You can't put this app this big. Well, an independent gives you an opportunity to do a little bit more in that space. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about, it's really in the ball is in your court of how far you want to take it.
Any other comparisons or contrasts from a record deal versus independent, other than what you've already mentioned?
Um, I would say the only other thing is it would be, man, it don't matter major or independent. You're gonna have to have a level of dedication to it, a level of discipline about what you want to do. The mix between, and that's what I told somebody earlier. The only thing that I regret from earlier, I just wish I would have been a little bit more disciplined as I am now. You know what I'm saying? How to take more things more serious. How stop putting off today for tomorrow. That's another thing that independent will drive you to do. It will drive you to put off today for tomorrow. Whereas with a deal, they're gonna keep pressing. They got this amount of money invested into you. They're gonna keep on trying to get it back out of you. So sometimes a deal is great for having the person that keep pushing you to do what you want to do. Sometimes independent can make you complacent because all the decisions are in your hand. All the timing about what you want to do. Okay, over here with this deal, they got a deadline. I want to make this album by this. If you don't get this, okay, we didn't give you this much money up front. You're not gonna get this the rest of it until you turn this in on the Saturday. Well, independent, you under your own pace. You know, they told you to be through February the 5th, or you're not gonna get your money. Independent, you might not be through the April 5th. But if you knew you had that person on you about, hey man, you need to get this done. You got a time limit on do it, then you might get it done by February the 5th, like I said. So sometimes you need that push and that drive and that person that's over you. If that's not in you, some people can motivate themselves to get all of that done. And that's something that I can do, but I still had to grow into it. I wasn't always perfect at that. My mind frame of who I am now and how I handle being an independent artist with 50 or 40 or 50 album is much, much different when I had one or two. Yeah.
Any other pros or cons between record deal versus independent?
Um, the okay. One of the pros is you may travel the world. You may make a lot of money. You may see some of the biggest stadiums. You may meet some of the great people. But the con to that, you may get no time with your family. You may not get to see no little league games. You may not, you know what I'm saying? Like you may not be able to come out in. One thing about the deal and situation, one of the pros is you making a lot of money, you doing it, but you don't get to enjoy it as much. Now, from an independent standpoint, it may be vice versa around. You may be able to do what you want to do. So you're able to go to the Christmas program that your son had. You made the basketball game but at the same time, you might not be at the BET Awards. You might not be at the biggest things that the game has to offer. So it's pros and cons about it. The best thing is when you can get the best out of both worlds, when you can be independent and still get. I'm an independent, so me being able to come 85 and DJ Smallz and doing different things, that's a great. But sometimes as an independent, you don't get those platforms to get those opportunities. So it's pros and cons. It's all about how you want it.
And you're referencing the 85 South show.
I'm referencing your show, period, whatever show. Millions of followers, sometime at independent. All independent artists don't get the platforms or get the opportunity to go on these bigger shows. Well, or, you can have a work ethic that you may. You know what I'm saying? You may do enough where you get noticed. One thing about the major, the pro is sometimes they influence to set you up with these things. Hey man, I'm set you up with 85 South. I'm gonna set you up with DJ Smallz. I'm gonna set you up with 30, whatever it is. I'm gonna make sure that you on that run. As in independent, you may have to work hard enough for them to notice you. You know what I'm saying? Or be in tune with what you got going on. So it's a difference.
Anything else you want to mention about a record deal being independent or a question you weren't asked? People want to know about any of those.
Like I said, man, for I'm an independent guy, but I don't knock. You know what I'm saying? I tell people if you can get a deal, and it's not about the deal, it's about the right deal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not Understand this. I would tell you is okay. Here's the one we close out on. That's a good pro and con. It's not about what you deserve. It's about what you negotiate. You know what I'm saying? Like you got some of the better artists with the worst deals. Then you got some of the artists, they might not be the best. They might not be as more skillful than this one, but they have a great deal. And they deal consists of making the people that they partners do what they're supposed to do. Whereas you're great, but you got a shitty deal and they don't promote you, or they don't do nothing that goes your way. And then you could be a person, man, with a simple game, but you got a great deal. So it's not always about what you deserve, it's about what you negotiate.
You mentioned you've had 3 deals in the past. How long approximately have you been independent for?
Right now I've probably been independent for at least 12, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And now, like, from my side of the game, I love independent. I love what it do for me. But from my label, I want to get my artists the better situation that they can get. I want them to maximize. We'll start independent, but I want them, man, I think at 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever it is, enjoy the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you get a little older, then you start putting all your ducks in a row of how you want it to be and catalog positioning and all that, man. In the beginning, man, I promote for young artists to maximize their opportunities, man. I love Lil Baby them. I think they're having a great time. You know what I'm saying? So I do promote that to the young artists. And if you just say, hey, man, I don't want to do it, I want to do it myself and be independent, man, I don't knock that. But I just tell you that from an independent standpoint, you got to be willing to spend your money and spend your grind. Yeah.
Anything else on this?
I'm good.
An additional question here that just came to mind. Out of those 3 deals that you have had in the past, were one of those your favorite out of the 3?
No.
Okay.
I learned something in each one. You know what I'm saying? And I learned something for my future deal that's coming up. I'm still going to get another one. You know what I'm saying? And what I learned in those deals I was talking about today, you have to stop approaching those deals with what get caught up with sometimes with Southern artists and artists, period. It's just getting a deal. Once you get a deal, you start thinking about everything that they could do for you. How that you're with them now, everything's gonna change because it's so much bigger. So what I would tell a lot of artists getting it, it's all about what you can do for the deal. Sometimes you can save yourself in the deal. Sometimes the deal may not be great, but who you were, you may come up with a great song that saved the whole situation. Sometimes, man, like I've had deals, and the reason why I said no, because in some of my deals, like my middle deal with Koch, I was about 22, and they gave me about $250,000. And, it didn't go all the way that I want to, but as I reach back and think back, it was so much more that I could have done with the $250,000 instead of being 22 with it. And maybe I could have saved them in a situation. What if I'd have gave them a Southside, another big hit? You know what I'm saying? So it probably would have changed the fortunes of if it was a bad deal or not. So I tell people all the time, man, don't just go into getting a deal about what the deal can do for you. Get the deal and remain the same person that you was to get the deal so you can maximize it. That's what I think.
What's been your biggest song so far in your music catalog up until this point?
On Southside for sure. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's not about sales or anything. It's a culture. It's about what it did to the culture, how it stood the test of time. And it's probably bigger it's the 25th anniversary of it this year. It came out July 1997. And 25 years later, it's probably bigger than it was in 1997.
That record, were you in any of these 3 deals, or was that as an independent?
I was in a deal, but not a major deal. The 3 deals that I'm telling you about was us going from an independent company to try to get major distribution. Like the Island Jam was the first deal that I got with Jam Down, my first company. We had done Don't Mess with Texas. And the album that y'all know with the commission, that's nothing but the Don't Mess with Texas with about 6 or 7 new songs on it. And that came out through Island. That was the first one. And then the second one was more of a mid-major. It was me. And I took that deal for the money. Just to be honest, man, I'm 22 years old. They talking about giving me 200,000. I want it. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but I want it. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably something I wouldn't do later. But shout out to Koch. They did give me a great opportunity. And then, man, I had to my last one was the situation that I had with Swish House and T Ferris and Universal. So having to deal with Swish House was already a deal because they was already on. It's just the Universal came in for the side of distribution, and there was a lot much more that we could have did with that too. But like you say, like I say, I didn't mature into this thought process of what I can do for the deal until I got older.
So when you did create Southside, what 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 deal was that under when you did it, or
I
was
had my first record deal with the first record company that I got. That's called
okay?
Jam Down. It wasn't a major deal with just a company in the city. I had did 3 in the morning, Pimp the Pen, and I had a few offers from the people that Screw did his album with, Big Time Records. 3 in the morning. I had another deal on the table from Rec Shop Records from D-Rec, and then I had Jam Down, and I just chose them. Like I say, I was at this time I was 19. They had the most money. I went with them. And that's what I tell artists sometimes. It's not, I wouldn't change nothing, but don't always pick the deal for the money. Make sure you pick the people that fit your energy and is going to get behind you and do what you need to do to make you successful.
Even though you only had 3 deals so far that you actually end up with going forward with, after Swisha House in that Universal scenario, had you received offers for new deals?
Oh, yeah, 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 all the time. It's just not fitting of what I'm finna do. You know what I'm saying? Like I've learned, I've grew into, I don't need to take a deal with something that, I'm not going to take a deal with something that I think I'm going to make in 2 years. Or I'm going to make in a year. You know, that's not always a decision that I was easy enough to make. But I don't want $5 if I know I'm going to make $5 in the next, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just holding out to make sure that, and the deal is not really so much about me, man. Even when I'm aspiring for a deal and looking for something right now, I just want the artist that I'm gonna mess with to get the best situation. And a deal doesn't always mean Universal, Atlantic. That sometimes a deal is just like I say. You're in a situation doing music. You're right here with it. Get your situation can maximize when you're doing music and you're getting all of it out that you need to do.